yesterday I decided I wanted to play with some hardware I found on the Scrapyard, and in this case it's a ASUS P5QD Turbo motherboard, and this uses the P45 chipset, if I'm right, and yeah, that's one of the chipsets that supports the 771 socket mod. So what I did is I put a Xeon E5450 right on there after cutting the plastic guards in the socket successfully, as you can see. And this is a pretty good sample of the CPU, I think, because I was able to overclock it to 3.6 GHz without changing the voltage at all. So it's running at stock voltage. This is effectively just the maximum of the native FSB of this motherboard. It's a 1333 FSB CPU, and it's running at 1600 MHz right now, and fully stable. Memory is now also running at 800 MHz, which is native speed. It's a pair of Kingston 2GB sticks and a pair of Samsung 2GB sticks, which I actually had to solder new caps on after they fell off because of yeah, well, I haven't stored them properly, but they're still fully functional. And yeah, GPU is a Geforce GTX 480, which you can get for like 50 bucks on eBay, or maybe 60. Power supply is also Scrapyard find, 560 watt Chieftec, and yeah, so is the screen, which is an Acer 22-inch 16x10. It's a V223W, and yeah, I'm really surprised how well the system is performing actually. GTA 5 is running very smooth. It's, I'm not sure how many FPS exactly. Well, let me put the benchmark on for a second. Should work. Okay, here, graphics, benchmark, yes. Oh, damn it. Hate when the game does that. Settings, graphics, and tab. Yes. So let's see what frame rates we are getting. It's probably gonna take a while. Oh yeah, there it is. So yeah, very smooth, 4650 frames per second. This gaming is running at 1680 by 1050 with FXAA on, 2x MSAA, mouse settings on normal. Tesselation is enabled, I believe, and yeah, I'm gonna show you settings afterwards. But yeah, I mean, for what this system would cost if you would build it from like eBay parts, it's probably around like $200 or 160 euros, depending on where you're located at. But yeah, I mean, certainly this is a console killer. The graphics do pretty much look identical or even better than the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One versions of this game. And yeah, who said that PC gaming has to be expensive? I think those are pretty impressive results, and yeah, this proves the point that consoles may be not that cheap after all, if you consider that the games are a lot more expensive than they are on the PC platform. The cooler I'm using is I'm not sure which model it is, but it's a Noctua. Totally overkill. The CPU right now is, as I said, running at stock voltage. Oh, look at this. Even exceeding 60 frames per second. It's a, yeah, well, unknown model, but the CPU is at most, like the temperature is like, I think like 65 degrees Celsius at its highest. Like the second core is always a little bit lower, it's around 55, and the other ones are about 60 usually, but yeah, running pretty well, as you can see. Haven't measured the power draw yet, but it can't be that much. It's probably around, like, I'm guessing 350 watts, which is kind of typical for this kind of setup. The CPU is like a 95 watt TDP, and the GPU is like 250 watts TDP, though that it's maximum load, and therefore your actual power consumption will be probably like only 3/4 of that. So do the math, I didn't, but I'm guessing 350 watts is pretty much where it's gonna be at. So yeah. How long is this benchmark test? I'm not sure if I ever ran the whole thing. Seems like there's no real drops below 30 FPS, so it's certainly something I would call totally playable. Was this it? Seems like it. Okay. Story mode is being loaded. Well, I'm gonna wait for this to load and then show you the settings, but yeah. Okay. Okay, well, too bad it's not showing the average FPS. Would have liked to see that, but doesn't seem like they do give you that option. Too bad. Okay, settings, as you can see, it's running in DirectX 11 mode. 16:10 screen, 60 Hz. FXAA is turned on. 2x MSAA, VSync is off, of course. The distance settings are maxed here. Normal texture settings, shader is normal, shadow high, reflections are high as well. 2x MSAA for reflections, normal water quality, particle quality is normal as well. Grass, shadows, NVIDIA PCSS, normal. After, what is it called, David? Yeah, we can figure it out. 4x anisotropic filtering, normal, whatever that is. Tesselation is turned to normal, and yeah, those are my settings. And the advanced graphics, a bit more distance rendering, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, as you can see, the game is just running absolutely flawlessly. It's super smooth. I mean, it's probably running with a higher frame rate than on my main rig, which is using a GTX 970 and a 4K screen. But yeah, this is a pretty usable system especially for the cost. This is what the CPU temperature was at its height. It's 55 degrees on the hottest core, it seems, which is really better than expected, probably because the thermal is finally settled, and it's even better than yesterday. And GPU load was like almost 100%. Temperature as a GTX 480, of course, a little bit higher than your average graphics card by 83 degrees Celsius, but it's alright. This GPU is known for running hot. And well, the CPU load, it was pretty much at 100% while gaming. Can't see it anymore because it's past that point already, but it wasn't peaking, like it wasn't continuously at 100%, so there was no real lag CPU cost, I guess. RAM was, yeah, with about 6 gigs you're probably fine, but the system is 8 gigs, so yeah.